Sleeper Dude here. Today we're going to replace the frame rails and the lower tie bar on a new Ford F-150. This is the aluminum F-150. Now the frame on these is steel, but the all the body structure up top is aluminum. So that's me pulling the lower tie bar. It's aluminum. Now I'm getting the torch out. I'm going to cut the frame rails off. Now I'm cutting this about 1 inch in front of where the weld is, where these front frame rails weld in, because I don't want to do any unnecessary heat damage to the section of the frame behind it that we're going to keep. And here's me taking the screws out that hold the lower tie bar in. A lot of the stuff on these aluminum F-150s is riveted on and screwed in. You can see me there for a second using the rivet gun to try to punch out the rivets, and now I'm drilling out the rivets that I couldn't reach with the rivet gun. And those little rivets are a booger to get out, I'm telling you. But got the lower tie bar out of there. Now I'm cutting through the welds that hold the front frame rails on, that hold this last inch or so that I didn't get with the torch. I just cut right down the middle of the weld to try to break that weld loose, and then go all the way around it. It's pretty thick metal, so it takes quite a while to actually cut through. And also here in a second I use a air hammer to try to get the rest of it loose, because it's still kind of stuck even after you cut through these right here. These are not really that hard to replace, these front frame rails. It seems like a lot. There I am getting the last bit of it out of there. Now I take a abrasive disc and clean it all the way down to bare metal so we'll have a good surface to weld to. I'm test fitting the lower tie bar, and we're marking everything, drilling everything, and then putting the screws in it. It's mainly screwed, but it does have a couple blind rivets. You can see me there with the rivet gun putting it back in. Now I'm test fitting the new lower frame rails, and I bolted them to the lower tie bar. Now I'm using the measuring system to make sure they're in the right spot, and I'm tacking them in place once I finally get them exactly where they're supposed to be. I make a couple tack welds on it just to hold it in place, and of course the bolt that bolts it to the lower tie bar will hold it as well in place. So I tack it there, then I go back and measure everything, and now I'm welding them in solid, and just weld all the way around this thing on a pretty high setting on the MIG welder to really melt it in there. You don't want to not get good penetration on your welds, you know. But that's really all there is to it. Like I said, these things are really not as bad as you would think to replace if you've done it before and you understand what you have to do. As long as you get everything out of your way with the radiator and all the cooling system, there's some wiring to get out of the way, but it's not that bad really. I've done several of these in the past and haven't had much trouble with them at all. Go check out our main channel at Sleeper Dude. We get stuff running, we build cars, we go fast, we do all that stuff. We're on Instagram at SleeperDude88 and Facebook at Sleeper Dude. Thanks for watching.